Shirt show. All right, let's go.
Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Shirt man! All right! Episode 206 of Shirt Show. We're talking with Brent from Lumberjack Design Co. in Iowa. Let's go!
Hey there, handsome.
Hey there, beautiful.
Hey,
Hey, what?
how's it going?
It's going great. What's that shirt? Tom.
The Town. The
Is
Town.
it a show or something? What is it?
It's a movie. You remember that movie? It was directed by Ben Affleck. It's a heist movie.
Oh,
in Boston.
yeah. I do. I just heard. I don't know. This is gossip-y, so I'm sorry, but Ben Affleck was roasting. He was at the Tom Brady roast or something. Did you hear about this?
No.
I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going with this, other than he got mad at people, at haters, and now people are hating him, and so it's a big thing.
That's the thing about a roast is you can't let it bother you.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Would you ever say yes if somebody were like, "Hey, there's the roast of Dylan Gilligan"?
Nope.
You're a no.
I'm a no. I would get pissed.
Yeah.
I feel like I would be fun. Like I've definitely done that like with friends, but when it's people that aren't friends that like just go hard or deep or take a stab at a loved one or something, I would probably have a problem with it. So I'm not the best person to roast.
Yeah. You would go up and smack them across the face.
I would laugh. I would laugh, and then I would single tear when I was by myself.
Okay. Right. That actually is you. That is more like you.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I'd probably do the same thing.
How's it going? You look good in that hat.
All right. It's all right. Thank you. I wore it. I got it at Target. You know how you can go to Target and then there's your
There's just hats.
sports teams. Yeah, like the sports team. So you have a sports team up there somewhere, right? It's called, your hockey team is like the New York Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it is? So yeah, you need one of those hats.
I don't like sports.
I think you do. I think you're just a closet sports fan. That's what it is. And that's okay.
Sure. Deeply closeted.
Mm. How are things up there? That walk you went on was absolutely gorgeous.
This morning. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, the pick.
I was happy to get back in my routine, and I went for a walk, and yeah, it was wonderful. I had a hoodie on. I got about halfway. I took it off because it was humid, and I started to feel it. But yeah, it was glorious. I did that. I had my marketing meeting this morning, which went really well. And then I immediately went outside, and me and my dad are doing landscaping at the shop.
Oh, okay.
So I did that until about literally 10 minutes ago. And then I washed my face and hands, and I'm a sweaty mess right now. And I'm here doing this with you. So
what does landscaping mean right now to you? You mean like planting flowers like I did a few weeks ago?
no, it's at the end of the building. We 2 years ago now probably like redid board and batten around like the storage area to make it look all nice and pretty. And then like it's up maybe 4 or 5 feet off the ground. And there's like a dirt ramp and a metal platform to go to it. But in front of that is the parking for the rest of the building. Like I put blacktop for parking, but there was nothing like to transition between the two. It was just kind of like this hole and dirt and weird. So we went and bought like a bunch of railroad ties to match like the rest of the front of the building where cars park. So we did railroad ties like 4 feet high, and it kind of like comes down kind of like just like landscaping stones. But instead of that, we did railroad ties.
Yeah.
So we're out there doing that. So me and my dad, both out of shape, middle-aged, sore back humans, lifting railroad ties and stacking them.
I am going to disagree with you right here, because maybe you like to say you're out of shape, but I was on a hike with you 2 days ago, and it was like a 5-mile fucking hike, and you did it like a champ.
Oh yeah, I'm out of shape. Like I can walk forever. I'm Forrest Gump when it comes to going forever, but it's lifting things and bending with your, what you're supposed to lift with your back, not your knees.
With your core. Supposed to lift with your core.
Right.
You really are, though.
And I did not do any of those things. I just put all of the pressure on my lower spine.
Okay. Well, that is
Yeah.
But I think you're in pretty good shape. Yeah, your heart rate was low
Solid.
during that walk and everything. Yeah. But I know what you're saying now. There's the lifting railroad ties and stuff like that.
It's just a thick boy. So
I get it. I get it.
mm-hmm.
So other than that though, the shop is humming, presses are spinning.
Shop is humming so good. It's so busy, in a good way. Everything. I can't ask for better shit right now, to be honest.
That's so funny because we are peak. Like this is the busiest we've been all year, and it's every department. So like it's just it's happening. So I hope that I don't know when this comes out. It's a couple weeks from now, but I hope that all shops are experiencing the same sort of thing. That it's just stacking up. There's stuff to do.
Yeah, I agree. It's really nice. Yeah, we had. It's funny. We had kind of loftier goals with our in our meetings. And we did a lot of the stuff, like we did awesome, but it got to the point where this week I was like, all right, well, what are we doing on this task that we were working on? And like, where are we at? And like, basically they were all looking at me like, please don't add any more right now. Like I have enough shit to do during the day. So I kind of scaled everything back a little bit.
I know, just keeping up with emails, when you're like, oh, fine, I got email done. Next, you get to archive it, feels good. But then 2 more come in, you're like, oh.
Like you literally look at your inbox and you click on the new message and then you like get there for a couple minutes and type up what you're going to type. And then you go back to the inbox after you hit send and there's 5 more.
Yeah, it's rough.
That's pretty much where we're at right now.
Yeah. But that's better than no emails. So yeah, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's better than no emails. It is, just so you know, it's very, very stormy. It's like nighttime outside. I wish I could show you. It's dark.
I got woken up by thunder last night.
Well,
like I got home at 12:30 and I went to sleep, and then I think like maybe like 2 a.m. there was like huge like thunder and it woke me up, and I was so disoriented. I had no idea what was going on. Thought I was in a war zone.
Well, this is a major system, and I don't know how shops do it because it seems like every day right now in the Midwest, in the afternoons, it starts a rumbling, and it's just, and so like when it's that bad and like, oh, there's going to be hail and it's dark and it's severe thunderstorms, then I'm like, well, let's close the shop. And so we have signs on our doors right now. We're closing early and we're busy. So like, because these are like major, these aren't just like, it's not just a little bit of rain. It's big time stuff. Dangerous.
I was going to say more for like the power going out.
I mean, that's bad. That happens sometimes. We don't have it like you. You're high risk for that. I know that happens a lot.
Fucking so much.
And that happens here sometimes too, but it's more like just, getting home in traffic and, just the storms. It's
you just want them to be safe is all.
It's a lot. Yeah. I care. Yeah. And so we'll see.
Did you say that you and Joe watched Reacher? Or you didn't watch Reacher?
No, not the series.
Not the show?
Like a movie we did.
Yeah. I just finished the show on the plane last night. Like I watched 2 seasons of a show within the last week, only on flights.
Wow. And you got a good dinner on a flight.
I did. I had chicken pesto and rice, and they had like those little mozzarella balls. It was delicious.
I had mozzarella balls last night too. It was in, I bought this pasta salad from Costco, and it was okay. Like it wasn't, I was a little underwhelmed. It was like tricolored tortellini, little pearl matzo balls, matzo balls, mozzarella balls, black olives, which I don't love.
Gross.
They're okay. I like green olives more. Let's see what else was. Oh, they had like.
Have you ever you've seen the Maury thing with the olives, right?
The what?
The Maury. I think it was Maury.
I don't think so.
Where, the Maury Povich show or whatever, where he's got this lady standing here and she's like fucking shaking and screaming and like terrified, and she's scared of olives.
No, I don't know anything.
And he's like holding her and she's like freaking out, and she tells the story that when she was a little girl, I think like her dad died or something, and they're like, she saw his eyes in the casket or something, and they were so green that it reminded her of green olives, and she's been terrified of green olives like her whole life. And then Maury's holding her, and she's like, no, no, and he's like, bring out the olives, and she fucking loses it and like runs and screams.
Wow.
You've never seen that before?
No, but that seems kind of mean of him.
I know, but it's fucking hilarious video.
No, is that like a reel or something that you saw it, or did you saw the actual?
It's like a real clip from the show, but yeah, it's people have been posting it everywhere. It's just one of those things. Like they just cut it where it basically says "bring out the olives," and she's like, "Yeah."
No, I missed that.
Side story. I'll send it to you.
Okay. Let's see what we got here.
Oh, Frankie, did you talk to him this morning?
No, I haven't.
No, Frank, this morning.
That's not okay, is it?
Mm-mm.
Disappointed, Frank. Whoops.
Call him up.
Yeah. Right now? Let's see.
Just be like, hey, how you doing, bud? Bring it closer.
Please leave your message for 8478.
That's
sent you
not,
a voicemail. You pissed him off.
that is not cool, Frank.
You done pissed him off.
I'm so sorry. I hope he forgives me. He's pretty good at that. He's a forgiving kind of guy.
You know, teddy bear.
You got to be ready at all times to do a Frank.
Fuck, okay? Apparently.
No matter when, no matter what, you better be ready.
Mm-hmm.
It all starts with the screen, and whether it's new stretches or restretches, Frank and his team do it the best. To find out more, go to graphicscreenfashion.com, FFFFF.
Rank.com.
Or
greatbuckinscreens.com.
The best.
The best in the world. The world. Call up Guinness, motherfuckers.
Dylan, cleaning screens is no fun, but EasyWay makes it way more funner. Their line of eco-friendly chemicals will make reclaiming screens a whole lot easier. Check them out at easyway.com. EasyWay.
It's the easiest and only fucking way.
Yep.
I heard John saying the other day, he was like, who else is there? That's when you know you've made it, is that you are literally the only thought option. I mean, there are others out there, but nothing compares.
GraphX is the source for production-ready digital art and remote art staffing. We use them every single day. Learn more at graphxsource.com or 1-900
hotstuff.com.
Yeah, those two are very
the
active.
Hottest of the hot. Yeah.
Hey, Dylan, do you know choosing the right emulsion for your shop is complicated, and that's why we love Chromoline. Go to chromoline.com to watch Kev's vids or contact him on the IG at the Emulsion Guru and get the answers you want and
would love to deserve your secret desires.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot.
The stuff that you lust for.
It's all true. Lots of modifiers there, but they all are true. For both of us, S&S has been our go-to shirt source for a long, long time, since day one, actually. But Dylan, did you know that they have the largest selection of headwear?
Headwear? What's a headwear?
A headwear is a hat. So yeah, that's what they have. Okay.
They do have some good hats. They have good everything. S&S came by the shop while I was out of town and had a meeting with my crew, and they were pumped on it. It was that good of a meeting that they brought up the stats in the meeting that we had today. So thanks, Mike, for coming out.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you, Mike.
Yeah.
Never met you, but you sound great. In fact, I actually did hear his voice before.
Yeah. He's a good man.
A good voice too.
Mm-hmm. Great. Voice of an angel. Next we have Gildan, American Apparel, Comfort Colors, all the greats.
Yeah.
Keep buying Gildan.
I do. I know I do. I mean, let's face it.
We were just talking in a meeting this morning about our good, better, best options. And we had a customer come in the other day that was asking for more of a fashiony, boxy fit. And I said that they need to do that at American Apparel 1301. You know, it's all redone. It's boxy. It's perfect for the streetwear stuff. So it's great. Lots and lots of new options out there. So you should hit up your S&S rep, get some of those Gildan samples or the Comfort Colors or American Apparel, and check them out. It's all new, good stuff.
For sure. Hey, let's not forget about Screen Print GPT. You definitely need to sign up for this free info source. And if you haven't already, just go get it, check it out. It has the answers you,
Are searching for?
yeah, that's what it is. You search for it and then the answers are right
Then
there.
they give it to you. Yeah, it's pretty simple.
Yeah. Do you know I
What's
was
our-
talking to,
Most handsome 2023 made it.
that's 2024 though, so we don't count that anymore.
Oh yeah, that's true. He's ugly as fuck. Never mind.
Do you know though that I saw him just recently and he said that I actually asked Siri a question and he scolded me and said, no, you ask ChatGPT the question. It's much better. And so
Really?
it is. And I don't know how to do it. I still don't. But he has it set up like the app on your phone, or he's got it set up somehow where.
What's the difference? I've never even thought of that. Like, where does Siri get her information from?
I don't know. I guess Google. I really don't know. But here's what the question was. So I was in a fierce argument with him, which I am all the time because he's a very argumentative person.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, there's no basements in Phoenix. Like houses generally don't have basements, and he didn't believe me. And so I was like, here, Siri, and he goes, no, ask ChatGPT. And then ChatGPT confirmed I was right. And I was only right 3 times that day. He told me, but I was right that time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you should use ChatGPT. And while you're there, also use Screen Print GPT. It answers all your screen print questions. Duh.
Yep. It's the best. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, thanks, Matt.
Who we got today, bud?
Dylan, let's get into it. Yeah. Let's see. Today, we are talking shop with Brent from Lumberjack Design Co. in Winterset, Iowa.
What's up, beautiful?
What's going on, fellas?
The John Wayne is great.
Oh, yeah.
Behind you.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a giant banner? What is that?
That's a vinyl wrap that we printed a while back. So your buddy, Zach Newton, actually designed that for us.
Nice.
I started following him after you guys did the Upstate podcast on there.
Mm-hmm.
And saw he was pretty close by. So I was like, hey, let's get together and do something. And he did not disappoint because, Winterset, home of John Wayne.
He is really, really good at just like doing an illustration and bringing it to life. Like more often than not, designers are grabbing like parts of other like graphics and whatnot and making a design. He's like, nah, dude, he fucking draws like everything.
I hardly gave him like any inspiration. I kind of gave him like, hey, this is where we're from. This is, home of this. And he's like, oh yeah, I got something. Let me do this. And I waited like, it was a week or two. And he's like, here's what I got. What do you think? And I was like,
perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect.
I have a very important question. I notice he has sunglasses on. He's wearing shades. And which got me thinking like, when were shades invented? Because cowboys could have really used a nice pair of sunglasses, I bet, while they're on the horse, they're herding the cattle, driving them north from Texas to wherever.
Driving them north.
Yeah. Like, how you could use some sunglasses, right? But they probably didn't have any.
The first
you don't see
sunglasses,
those in
the first sunglasses made from flat panels of smoky quartz called eye tie, meaning dark clouds, which offered no corrective powers but did protect the eyes from glare, were used in China in the 12th century or possibly earlier.
Wow. Okay. That's way earlier than I thought.
Yeah, this is more of like John Wayne on
The beginnings of
set of a movie set.
sunglasses. The beginnings of sunglasses can be traced back to the Inuit tribes over 2,000 years ago.
Well, that makes sense because it was bright up there in the tundra. Like their glare off of snow.
They just did the fucking like pieces of bone with a slit in the middle. So there was like very little light coming through.
Those are like the ones that just came out a few years ago where it was like the plastic and they had like the lines across them that every like junior high kid was wearing or it was like,
like the
Kanye
fins?
West style.
Yeah. Like the old school Van fins. Yeah. Those are sick.
Yeah.
So what's up, dude? How's it going?
It's going well. Things are starting to pick up a lot. There was kind of a month. Well, it was like we always have like a super busy Christmas season. And we do a lot for like state wrestling and all that kind of stuff. So all of the winter months are completely packed with stuff. But as soon as like winter or like state wrestling is done, it kind of tapers off a little bit. Like March was a little slow, and it's starting to like, it's just like ramping up. It's like all of a sudden people need their stuff right away. And it's always like construction companies, lawn care companies, like, you guys were sitting at home for 3 months just thinking about this, like schedule this a little bit sooner, you know?
Yeah.
But it all seems to come at once.
That's how it is with everybody. You got to think like, you know, the week before Christmas or fucking all this other stuff. It's like everything's packed because everybody does everything last minute. Everybody procrastinates. We have a ton of those right now. We were talking about that this morning, where we can't take any more rush orders. Like everybody wants it by end of next week or something. It's like there's just no room on the schedule anymore. Like we are jam packed to where we can't fit it. So
that's what we're dealing with a lot too. It's, hey, I need this by this weekend for, I think they're doing like a wine walk or something in town. And we had a few people reach out, and it was like, yesterday was Monday, you know, it's like, I hate to turn you away, but it's going to be, you know, this price, and you know, we got a quick turnaround. We need sizes right now and everything like that. So it's hard not to take those, because they see that later on too. Like, oh, this guy didn't do my shirts in, you know, a week's time. They don't realize that that's a rush at that point. They think it can just be done right when you say, hey, I need shirts, but they don't understand the process and all that good stuff. So
I wanted to bring this up. I guess this kind of is fitting. This is something I had notes in. I was on my walk this morning and I saw a reel on my phone. It was some restaurant guy talking. I think he's actually one of the guys that does one of those restaurant shows, where he was talking about like customer acquisition basically. And he was saying that for someone to walk into the restaurant for the first time, sit down and have like a good meal, everything went good, whatever, the statistical percentage or whatever for them to come back a second time is 40%. And then if they come back the second time, they eat, meal, everything went good, statistical for them to come a third time is only 42%. And then the statistical amount for them to come the next time goes up to like 70, because they've been there a few times. They know the place, you know, they're basically a house account at that point. And they were saying that like in a restaurant, you know, how many times has somebody come up to you and been like, is it your first time? Like, is it your first visit, whatever. So what you could do is you could lay down like a red napkin for them. And that way the servers and everybody knows, hey, this is our first time, like give them like a good time, let them eat their meal. And then when they're done, say they got the steak or whatever, be like, oh, you should have had the chicken. Like the chicken here is really good. Give them like a coupon or something to come back and have the chicken the next time. So they come the next time, they eat the chicken, same thing. Everything went great. Be like, oh, this is your second time, you should try the cheesecake next time. Come the third time, you know, and then they're almost a regular. They feel well taken care of, whatever. So they were saying that you're not reaching out to get somebody just the one time. You need to kind of treat them nice and sell to them. Obviously you should do that all the time, but like you shouldn't consider that customer acquired until after at least 3 times. It's the same for us. I feel like for screen printers, it's like, how many people have we gotten where we did one order for and we were just like, hey, we got them, fucking, hey, this customer is in ours now. And then you never hear from them again. And it's like, it could be a band or whatever that's on tour and is like, fuck, we need merch this weekend. Oh, Upstate's close, let's get them. And it's like, we get the order, we print it, we're like, cool, we solved it for them, we're great. And then they go back to another printer or whatever. It's like, we should like give them something at that point and be like, hey, we're glad we fixed this for you. We did this, but like, you know, we'd love to like help you out, maybe give you free shipping on your next time. And then they come here and then they build a relationship with that person and so on. And then after 3-4 times, it's like their house account, you know, they're good. So
we kind of do that with, I have an example for that too, is because we just like, we never do sales or anything like that. And we always read like package deals, run a sale or whatever. And it was like, so we finally kind of knelt down and was like, let's do it, see how it goes. We do this. It's the old one color front, one color back, 50 shirts, 100 shirts, whatever, at this price. There was so many people that we knew personally that came out and did that versus like, hey, these people, they still know we print shirts, but they haven't used us in a year or two. And it's just kind of frustrating when you see that they come in. It's great that they're doing it, but we try and also use that as kind of a sales tactic too, to kind of upsell them on the other items that we're doing. So like for a lot of those guys, we did like their 50 shirts, 100 shirts, and then we do a lot of the leather patch hats and stuff too. So like, it was like, I asked my designer, I was like, hey, Taylor, let's make they have their logo already to us. Let's throw it on a patch. Let's make one quick, sew it and be done. It takes 10 minutes. More often than not, they're coming back and they have that. This company gave me a free item versus this company just did my order and there was no like thank yous or anything like that.
And I don't think it should necessarily be a discount right off the bat. It's not like, hey, come back and your next order is going to be this discounted, whatever. It should just be like something that's customer service or like you are doing something to help them. It's more like that white glove service of like, oh, well, we can help you figure out like, hey, instead of you being always in a rush for getting merch to your show, like that weekend, like, hey, how about we help you? Like, we'll plan out the next like 5 dates and we'll, find the UPS stores to ship them to and like help you. And it'd be like, oh, fuck yeah, that would roll. Like, I feel like it's stuff like that would help them a lot more than just being like, here's a free item. But yeah, it's like you were saying, if you threw in a patched hat that they weren't even thinking of, maybe next time they order shirts and patched hats or stickers or whatever.
Yeah, that's what they're doing is like a lot of them reached out. And at least, I mean, as long as they're asking for pricing and stuff, that's a win right there. They still have it in their minds. They have that they're wearing on their head. People are always going to see that and be like, hey, that's a pretty sweet deal. How'd you get that? Where'd you get it? And then that's kind of how we do a lot of the business around here is just basically a lot of it is word of mouth and it's based on customer service and all that kind of stuff is how was your experience? It's just like that when you, like you were saying, you go to a restaurant and it's like, is the server paying attention to us or, is the food good? The print quality, is it good? Was it fast? It's all that stuff that goes into it.
Think about how many times we've gone to a place, a restaurant or anything, and like the service sucks the first time or someone's having a bad day and they just don't come to your table for like a half an hour and you're like, fuck this place, I'm never coming back.
Right.
It sucks. But in reality, it's like a great place and they have great food. It was just like that server was shitty that day or like the steak was overcooked that day or whatever. But you write it off in your brain of like, I'm just never going to come back here. This experience sucked.
And it kind of ties into with like, that's the same thing. It almost goes with like emailing customers back too. Cause I am like 100% guilty of it. It's like, I wear many hats around here and like printing and design and email and getting back to people. It's like people I can see are irritated sometimes. It's like, I don't get back to people right away on emails. It's like, hey, you just like, you have to understand that like we're a small business. We've got a lot of irons in the fire right now. I acknowledge that they're coming, they're emailing and stuff, and I'll let you know when I get back to you, but it will be a little bit, it's not going to, we try to be quick, but it won't be like, hey, we got to drop what we're doing and stop this right now and get responded back to them. So, yeah.
Andy, did you have something? You said you had a thing you wanted to try.
Well, I have that, but also it's not exactly like the red napkin thing you described, which I really like. I'm not sure how we could pull that off here, because it's a t-shirt place versus a restaurant. It's a little bit different, but what we do on a customer that if something's gone wrong, let's say, at some point in the process, then all of a sudden they become a TLC customer. And so it's noted in Monday and we have a piece of red tape. Speaking of red napkins, we put a piece of red tape on their packet, which is like this, you guys probably have them too. You have a clear packet, you put everything in. And the red tape goes on there and it's a TLC customer, meaning like, hey, yeah, sure. We try to make every customer like 10 or 11 care and give them the best service possible. But this one right here, pay a little
extra attention.
Like, yeah, we cannot like mess this up right now because they're already upset. So let's make it sure this like really flows smoothly from here on out. In fact, let's get it done quicker. Let's do everything we can, to make them happy because they're a little bit unhappy at this moment. So let's give them some TLC. And so I think that's really nice to know because as the order moves through your shop, everybody kind of is aware that it's a TLC order. And so maybe
it could be like you said, though, it could be like on our boxes too. We have like neon green stickers where we put if it like has tags or whatever. So it's just known for production that they have to do extra with that box. But maybe there's a piece of red tape that goes on there where it is like Brent said, where it's like, all right, we're going to throw in a patched hat for this order, you know, or we're going to handwrite a thank you note or something that goes in this box. And then
Cookies.
that is the first touch, or some cookies, you know, some Chips Ahoy.
Cookies are always legit, or like packets of candy. Like, you don't know how many vendors that will like send, like, it's more like the oddball stuff, not mostly shirts, but you get a packet of candy in there and it's like, man, it's like a package of like Werther's Originals or something that's like, or like beer barrels or whatever. It's like, I wouldn't have never gone and got these, but yeah, I mean, you can like, it changes your day.
We do these like holographic packets with a card and like all this info and stuff in it. But then we also do stickers, and then we do the Airheads mystery flavor.
Yeah.
So I buy those like buy like a fuckload. I just buy like a ton of them on Amazon, and we slide those in every order.
That's a good idea. I like it.
It's already like kind of half melted anyway. So like when even if they got it and it was hot, you wouldn't question it. You're like, oh, this is good.
Do you guys, you know, we're talking about us doing stuff and getting cookies and whatever it is we're giving to our customers. Do you ever get customers that come in because let's say you rushed an order and did it, you know, whatever you did, you went like beyond expectations for them and they bring you stuff like donuts or whatever it is and they just show up, you know, with that kind of thing? Isn't that great?
My favorite is when it's like a barbecue place or like a coffee shop or something and they bring you their product. And you're like, fuck, yes, this rules.
I need to live closer to like a barbecue joint, I guess. That sounds like legit.
Yeah. Well, it's like we're right now speaking of cookies, like sending out customer appreciation things, like some of our, you know, our 80/20 clients or whatever. We're picking one or two a week and we're sending them something. And we have this place near us. It's like Gabby's basically. And she makes like custom cakes and cookies and all this other stuff. So right now we're having her make like, I don't know, like 24 cupcakes for a client where they're like special cupcakes for them, like decorated for them that we're going to drop off. And the nice thing is it's a client too. So it could be like, hey, how about we just print a 25, 50 piece shirt order for you and trade for these custom cupcakes. And it's a win-win, you know, and then we take those cupcakes, give them to another client, and then it's good all around.
Yeah, there is. Now that you said that, it's like we do, like the small town that we have, like we do have this. There's this. It's one of the mom. I think it's a mom of one of the kids in my kids' class. She is like a stay-at-home cook, and that's what she does. Like they're like very Instagrammable cookies, like hand decorated.
Yep.
You can send her a logo, and she's gonna like hand. I don't know what it's called, but like pinstriping or whatever. Oh, it's legit.
I did that. I did that for Andy once. I did Shirkon cookies.
So they're like surprisingly, the taste is like they were great tasting cookies. Normally those ones aren't too good, but
they're like dry and hard. Yeah.
That was back when Dylan was trying to court me when he liked me, you know, more. And now he's like takes me for granted and he doesn't send me invites anymore. You know, that was like the honeymoon or pre-honeymoon.
Yeah,
way back then. So
yeah, now I don't do jack shit for you.
But you had two stories. Well, I was talking to you earlier, and you have two excellent stories that I think you need to share. And I'll tease one of them. One of them's about involves llamas, but the first one, the very first one, though, we were talking just a little bit ago. What I really like this one because I think we all have a little bit of this kind of thing happen. So you want to talk about it?
Sure. Yeah. So when we were first starting out, I basically started this in 2016-ish, kind of doing it on the side and working still full time for another place that was doing, it wasn't shirt related or anything like that, but it was still graphic stuff. And we were starting this own thing. We were out of our house in our living room. I had a large format printer right by a recliner and a computer desktop, ready things to go. And at that point, I was basically just like kind of brokering stuff out and not doing it myself. It was getting to the point where I was like, I need to like buy a press, get this going because I'm spending way too much money outsourcing all this stuff. So we got rid of that kind of way of doing it. so we bought it was a Riley Hopkins press. It was like an 8.6 press. It was probably way more than I needed at the time, but I always hate underbuying and like 6 months later regretting everything about it. So I had that, and it was in a neighboring town. We were just starting up. So we lived about 20 minutes west of Winterset. And so I would have a 20-minute commute every day. And we were also just getting ready to have our first kid. And so things were like, it was, mid 20s. I was probably.
Why do people do that to themselves? I feel like so many people are like, I started this business. I said, fuck my old job. And we're also about to have a child.
Oh yeah, it was totally that. But it was like to the point where like, if I don't do it, I'm always going to be doing this working until 1 a.m., 2 a.m. thing.
I mean,
it's
I
like,
get
it was
that,
to the point.
It ends up being a thing where it's like having a child literally changes your entire being.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, I'm also going to restart my career and decide to be an entrepreneur.
Yes, it was a huge leap. It was nice that I had kind of that cushion underneath since I've been doing it for other companies and stuff for a few years. So I had that client base still. It wasn't like, I'm going to pick screen printing to kind of go into. It was kind of more leading up, but it was very stressful times. And I remember we were going, my kid had been born at that time. I was still commuting back and forth, and it was like, it was just me. I was screen printing, doing the designs, doing customer service, all this stuff. And it was just like kind of stalling out. I was like, you know what? I was on my way to the shop that morning, and I was just kind of stalling out, thinking about it on my way. And it was just, I didn't have the radio on or podcast like I normally did. I was just kind of sitting in silence, thinking about my drive, thinking about the workday, and just being like, man, is this really worth all of this? And I kind of sat there and thought for a minute, like, I don't know if it is. Like, we've got this newborn kid that obviously we got to pay for diapers. We got to pay for childcare. We got to put childcare. Don't get me started on that. But like all these things that go along with just running a business, having kids and all this other stuff. And there was a moment where I was like, I don't know why I did this. This was kind of a bad decision. And then all of a sudden, like, it's kind of like you hear like people just zoning out and everything kind of muffles behind you. It's a weird thing that happened, but it was tunnel vision. Exactly. But I just heard this voice, and I told Andy, and I was like, it was weird because normally, like, you think it was like, it's your voice, you're kind of thinking through thoughts, but this one, it was just a weird, strange voice that just said, keep going. And so it was, and I just kind of sat, like, we were just coming up to a stop sign, and I just sat there for like 5 or 10 minutes, just thinking about that. I was like, I don't know what that was, but obviously there's something that I need to keep doing in this to just keep trucking and keep going. Cause it got to the point where I was like, you thought about it and you're like, you started this for a reason. You were tired of your old grind every day, grind to grind. Before I started this, I always had that, Sunday scaries. It was always, you're getting, depressed on Sunday nights. And it was like, I don't want to work for somebody else. I could be doing a better job somewhere else. I know that I could be doing it for myself. So, but it was a wild experience. And I've told that, I think, to probably one other person, being my brother. And that was like a real late bender of a night. And he's like, you need to like say that somewhere, because people like to hear that stuff. But it was like, it was wild. It was just keep going. That was it. Monotone voice, keep going.
I really love the story. And wouldn't it be cool if it was John Wayne's voice? And I'm saying it's already cool, but maybe you need to like, maybe it was. Did you think of that? Did it sound a little bit like that?
Yeah, the ghost of John Wayne. Hey, keep going. just keep going.
I don't know what entity told you to keep going. But that aside, I do have friends where I've had this conversation before where they're having a tough time, or they're like questioning things, or they're, burnout or whatever. And like, I go through this thing where I instantly go into mode of like, no, you're doing great. Like, I appreciate you and this and this and this. And then all in all, after like all this talking, they're like, that's all well and good. Like, I know what you're trying to do. Like, I can kind of to a degree see through what you're trying to do. You're just trying to like hype me up to a degree. But in reality, what it came to at the end is like, dude, I just wish you told me to quit being a fucking Nance and like just get like shut the fuck up and get back to work. Like, of course you're coming with us, or of course you're going to do this, or of course you're like quit being an asshole. Get back in here and help us. And that's almost
Right.
like you just hearing like, yeah, just like keep going. Like there was no fluff. There was no like someone being like, oh, you'll get through it. It's all right. Whatever. You just need somebody to be like literally like pick you up by the back of your neck and be like,
It was like, yeah,
fucking get back in there.
mother cat nurture nature type stuff.
Right.
But
Get
sometimes you
after
don't
it,
have
or
that.
I mean, you can't fail. You can't fail, or I mean, your whole life depends on it.
Right.
So
I think
I'm just saying that
that
if you have a support network or friends or something, a lot of times you just need that person who's blunt. That's just like, get in there.
But so often we don't have that support network, or if we do, our friends aren't the way that aren't those kind of friends that encourage us. You know what I'm saying? They say, "Oh, you should. Why did you do that? You know, that was a risk. You should have just stayed at your job or whatever it is." And so I think that a lot of times entrepreneurship is very lonely, and you're out there all alone, and you don't have that sort of support. And so, what does it take? It takes just you, or this voice of John Wayne or whoever it was, doesn't matter. That just says, you know, keep going, because, you know, I wanted to quit. I countless times, like 100 times I wanted to quit, and I kept going. I think that's what separates, you know, a lot of people, is that you just persevere, you know, you keep at it. And, you know, you wake up one day and then it's a little bit easier, you hope, anyway.
Right.
And so,
But to counteract my point earlier of you making a decision of doing this business and having a child at the same time, that is also a huge motivator. Like if you didn't have a kid,
Well, that was
might have
most of
been
it.
like, oh, fuck it, I'm just going to go back to this other job and I'm going to do this cushy thing. But because you
Right.
had that kid, you're like, nah, dude, like I need to double down now. Like I need to work extra hard.
That's a lot of it. A lot of drive came from it. Was like, nah, we're gonna do this, you know, because we're gonna grind harder. But it was like, yes, you have a child to care for now. It's a lot different than when you're in your younger years, where you don't have like responsibilities and
Yeah.
Basically you just show up. I'll do this when I get to it type stuff. It's like, no, if you don't do this, like you won't be able to have food for this kid or something like, you know, like that was like, we were like diapers and child cares again, but it was just like, yes, that is the main driving force. And that's a huge, huge thing about it, is like every time we go and do this type of stuff is like, you are taking risks and stuff, but it's like more often than not, like that I've seen, it's like your risks are going to pay off like tenfold, because it's like, if you don't take them, it's never going to happen. But it's like, you're never going to know, like things fail too. It's like we've bought an equipment and it didn't work out, or it's like things break and it's like, what's going to happen this week with this stuff? And it's just, things don't work out. Things do work out. A lot of the times they do, luckily. But you're never going to know unless you just, like I said, keep going and just keep after it. Basically just keep grinding. So
Funny thing is like I've heard, everyone's heard this, like, oh, you can be anything you want to be, you know, you can do anything, you can literally do anything or whatever. And the truth of it is like you kind of can if you're motivated enough. Like if you were like,
right.
Every day I wake up, I read these books, I do this thing, I apprentice at this, I put in as much time and knowledge as possible, you can get really fucking far. Like you could almost do anything you want to do, or at least in that direction. And then life will pivot you into maybe something else that you would have never thought of or done once you get to a certain level. You know what I mean? So like you can go in that, like I could be like, oh, I want to be an astronaut. Like I could study really fucking hard. I could join the military. I could do this. I could do this. I could get really, really close, or I could actually be an astronaut. And, you know, I just feel like it's the same with this. Like if you actually are the kind of person who just like works really hard and will put the time in, you will be successful in printing. Like literally anybody could do it, or have an awesome shop or an awesome crew or whatever, if they're willing to put in the extra time. But more often than not, what it is a person who wants the end goal, but doesn't want to put in the work. And then they're like, oh, why do no customers show up? Or why isn't this getting done? It's because you leave at 2:00 every day. Or
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I want to have extra days off on the weekends, or I want to do this, I want to do this. It's like, well, you can't have the other thing without putting in the time and effort to make it happen. You can't just walk in and be like, I'm a 6 auto shop with 50 employees and this and this. It's like, it takes years and years of just like time and energy and like practice to have those things
research.
happen.
Yeah. And like, again, researching and stuff, and like what you guys just did with your, the shirt show, spring break and stuff. Like if you aren't doing that kind of stuff, like, I'm not saying you guys have to do that one, but like, go out and learn something new about that stuff. Like, and I was talking to somebody at that, and it's like, as long as you learned like one new thing at this, like, it already made that trip worth it. And you come back with like so much more information on how to do this process better, and like upping that game of print quality. It's like, we've got shops around and stuff, but like, they're not doing the extra, that kind of learning and training on stuff that, like, you come and feel their prints and stuff, and it's like rough, or it's, you know, not registered, or I'm not saying what screens you should use and what not, but it's like, you can tell that they're using just wild stuff and print techniques and stuff too. It's just like, you kind of get into that with like, we're in a small town, so it's like, there's one of two options, and it's kind of crazy, like, why people choose us over them or vice versa. It just, like, the reasonings that we've heard behind that, it's just kind of crazy on why they split their orders and stuff like that. But yeah, it all goes into research and basically blood, sweat, and tears, how much you want to put into it.
Yeah.
I mean, there are plenty of all of that.
There are so many things, like you just mentioned, and resources where, you know, there's people like, oh, I can't afford to go on these trips. It's like, well, watch a fuckload of YouTube, get in a text group, join the Discord, like, get on a Facebook group. Like, there's a million things you can do for free at home in your free time. Well, I don't have time for that. Well, what are you doing while you're taking a shit? Pull your phone out, watch a video or two, learn a thing. Like you said, like, come into spring break. It's like, even if you didn't, if everything was taught, you were like, oh, I already kind of knew a lot of that or whatever. Like, how many people did you talk to where you're motivated to do this new thing when you get back? Like, you did learn something, or you talked to John or whatever, and you learned something about printing, and it's like, it just motivates you to do the next thing or learn the next best thing. Or you take all the information and you go back and you change your shop for the better. It's like, there's so many different things you can do. You just need to actually do those things. You can't just sit back and wait for shit to happen. Does not work that way.
Yeah.
Okay. What's this llama story?
Oh yeah. So the llamas. So I was, actually, it should probably go back to like before even Andy anyway. So JoJo was doing like, was she doing like an art show or something?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So she did like, she was posting for her latest art show and stuff. And I was like, that would be cool. We were talking at, actually one of those events. I think it was down in Fort Worth maybe, or something. And we just got talking about art and stuff. And I was like, it would be really cool to have her commission something. And I was just thinking about it. And I actually was talking to her about it with my wife, and I were down there. And it got brought up that we were in a small town, but like where I'm originally from, my hometown, we grew up on a farm, or I grew up on a farm. And we had llamas, and we still do have llamas. So yeah, that's basically it. So I had her basically commissioned her to do a portrait painting, or I think it was, I can't remember, oil pastel or something like that. But I did one of the llama that my wife actually like loves, and that's her llama basically that we have. And it's like, okay, we'll do this. Well, it's like, so going back to that, she did it. It was awesome. The wife loved it, all this good stuff. But like, I've had llamas since I was probably, I've had them since I was born. It starts with my dad, actually. Shout out Dale. He had, back in like the 80s and 90s, had like the coolest, it was like the funny farm basically, where every single animal that you would think of, he had like the peacocks, Japanese pheasants, donkeys, goats, all that kind of stuff. And then he had like this old llama named Cortez.
Obviously.
And this damn thing was like, when I was relevant and everything, it was probably 15 years old or something like that. And it was to the point where I was like, probably, I want to say like 8 or so. And he's like, you know what we should do? Like this guy, like he's a male. He's been by himself. No other female llamas around for however many years. We should get him a couple females to hang out with. Wild story. I didn't understand it then. Didn't have that story quite yet, Dad. So we decided to go get a couple females, and they could throw in, and we could have some new baby llamas after that. We got the 2 llamas, brought them home, instantly put them in with, Cortez, and the dude just had fire in his eyes, and he went after them. Both, got it done. But in the process of this, since he was so old, did you learn what happens at that point? That was your education story.
And so now you have 2 wives. Is that how it works? Okay.
That's what it is.
Dale taught me that I need 2.
Right. You got to have 2 because one's going to piss you off.
Do you say raise hell, praise Dale to your dad?
Yeah. Well, we have before. Yes. But he's like the old school farm guy that he just sits back and, shrugs off any jokes.
Does he have a fucking mustache?
He does not have a mustache. No, he's never had facial hair. He's never had a nice handlebars or anything like that. But
damn.
So anyway, these 2 female llamas, they were having drinks and chatting about the night and stuff. But this female reared up on the male, knocked his front teeth out, and then apparently I think what we kind of concluded was that this male llama ended up starving to death because he was so old and didn't have any teeth to eat with later on. But his lineage lives on throughout all of this. He did get the job done. He courted them very well. And now we are up to, I counted them this morning before I talked to Andy, and I think we're up to 11 now. And I think we're about due for another one, probably to give birth here in the next month or so.
So these all inbred llamas?
No. So after these years, we had upwards to 20 at one point. And then a wild pack of dogs came through our farm and killed a bunch of sheep. And what llamas are meant for is they guard the sheep and all this stuff. So in the process,
I was going to ask, I was waiting for you to finish your story. Of what the fuck do you do with a llama?
That's what I get every single time I talk about.
Do you eat them?
Any of that.
Do they have milk?
Well, I mean, you can eat anything, Dylan, but not llamas, I guess. So they're originally used for packing, up the Andes mountains and stuff, on the trails and whatnot.
A lot.
But we just use them. We just throw them in with our sheep and stuff, and they do a pretty good job protecting the smaller ones. But this pack of dogs came through and wiped out 5 or 6 llamas because they were protecting the herd. And then it was down to, I want
to see a llama fight a dog now.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. You wouldn't think a llama has power, but if you get in with a male llama and it's with females, it'll run up and it'll jump into you. If it's on the prowl, guard mode, and it'll do some damage.
Do you ride llamas?
My kids have. So yeah, you can do I think they can pack up to 60 or 80 pounds or something like that on their back. So
so I can't ride a llama.
No, we would not. But
what if I rode 3 llamas at the same time?
You could probably strap them together. Yeah, you could probably do that.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people do wagons behind them, which is we've never done, but there are people that do that. Yeah. But yeah, you can reindeer style that.
So why didn't you want to keep going with the family weird animal business and you decided to do printing instead?
This wasn't a long story. When I was a kid, I would surprisingly, I don't feel like I was very motivated. I grew up on a family farm. So it was my grandpa, my dad, my 2 other brothers underneath that. We grew up showing in 4-H, raising livestock, doing all of that stuff. And when you are a junior high or high school kid, the last thing you want to be doing is that.
Milking llamas?
We never milked a llama.
Don't lie to me.
I know we did not do that. But it was it was a lot of, it was that stuff. You got to stay home. You can't do, we did sports, but once you're done with sports, you got to go do this. You got to social. You can't socialize with your kids and stuff, or your friends and stuff. So I just hated it. I was like, and looking back now, I really regret it because I wish I was back there more often. Because like I'll go back and help sometimes, and one of my brothers still lives back there, and is kind of starting his own type of farm. Like he moved in my grandpa's house after he passed, and it's like just a quarter mile down the road from my parents, so they kind of share some land and all this good stuff. And I kind of regret doing that whole moving away thing and then starting this, but I still get parts of that still by going back.
Do you think, and me and H talked about this a while ago. I can't remember. Oh, we were talking about it with Dave Gardner, where it was like, do you feel like your first job, like the farm, has a lot to do with your motivation for Lumberjack?
Yeah. Well, I mean, absolutely. Yeah. I think about it quite a bit because it's like, there's like a lot of stuff, like you hear farmers and they don't like,
well, farmers are hard fucking workers. So
they're hard fucking workers, but it's like a lot of people don't understand. Like if you're not from a farming community, it's like, you just don't understand. You always hear the farm, like if you wouldn't have farmers, you wouldn't have food in your stores, all this stuff. It's like, there's a lot of it that's true. Yeah. Like a lot of it is true. And then there's always the thought that's like, yeah, but a lot of this stuff would be here anyway. But you have to think about all the stuff that they're doing in the background. But like my grandpa and my dad, like they've been farming. That's all they've ever done. My grandpa, he passed away back in like 2001, I think ish. Like every single day up until the day he died, checking on cows, farming, doing like working with like hauling pigs to the auction and whatnot, all that good stuff. And my dad's been doing it his entire life, and now he's getting up in his 70s and like all like he's still working, like he's out there busting his ass every single day. And that's a lot of it that I get from those two guys. But I keep like every single time I think about it, it's like the work ethic is definitely from that childhood experience with all that stuff on the farm. Yeah, for sure. I would definitely not have kept going if I didn't think about those times where that was at. So
can you share, each of you, and I have something too, like your biggest problem right now, like today at 1:38 p.m. Central Time, what is your biggest problem?
You.
Llamas.
Those damn llamas.
Brent, I'll let you go first.
Yeah. So our biggest thing, I don't know. I know you're in a smaller community or something like that, Dylan.
Yep.
Or town or township, I think is what Christina.
It's a village.
Village. That's what it was. You're a smaller village. So we're in a smaller town, and we're about 20 minutes west of Des Moines. So we're like, there is printers in Des Moines. We've heard stories of them like not printing shirts well or doing all this stuff. Our biggest thing is trying to market to like outside customers like that don't know about us, and trying to get those customers to, I guess, to know about us for one, to like, I don't know what the best way, that's our biggest issue right now, is basically bringing in those new leads basically is our biggest thing.
I saw a thing a little while ago that was like having a business and not doing marketing is like waving in the dark. You know what you're doing, but nobody can see it. And it's like the same thing. It's like you could be the best printer, you could have the best customer service, but if you're not out there telling people about it, nobody's ever going to know or find out.
Right. And we've tried, like, we've done a lot of Facebook ads, which are garbage nowadays because everybody behind a keyboard thinks that they have an opinion on something that doesn't pertain to them. But it just makes it hard to justify spending that money and stuff directly on that. I used to think it was, but now I just don't feel like it is going that direction. We still, since we are in a smaller community, it's crazy, but we still get like some lady that comes in and wants to sell ads in a phone book. And I keep telling her every single time, it's like, I don't know if you've heard this, but nobody uses phone books anymore, but they're still coming around yearly. And like, if you
know me, you know that I like diners. Like breakfast food is like one of my favorite things. And I love traveling to different places and going to diners. for the first time in my career, and I just got it the other day. It's actually fucking right there. I'm going to grab it. But I have a placement on a diner mat.
Oh, so those, yes, that would be a good one. What was that going on?
It's because I did this.
Oh, yes, we've seen those before. And those actually aren't like, there's a lot of people that do view those. We've had like in my hometown, there's one that does those like local, like 2-inch by 2-inch squares and whatnot. You can't be very detailed with what you do, but
it's like a 3x4 spot on a diner mat, and it's got like, you know, whatever 20 other people on it.
And where's that
But
diner located?
It's like right here in town. It's like the
like
diner in
you're
town.
suggesting then maybe what Brent does is he goes to Des Moines, finds a diner or whatever it is in Des Moines and advertises his place. Where
I mean, you could, yeah, but it's kind of like what you were saying before, Andy, too, is you were like, I want to do more outreach. I want to do more live printing. I want to do this and this to just get, like, I would just do more community shit. Like we did it before, like in our town, they don't really have them anymore, but we had like a once a year, like field day kind of thing where it was like, they shut down Main Street and everyone had like all the businesses came out with their stuff and they gave stuff away. And there was like bounce houses and slip and slides and all this other stuff. We would just take all the leftover random shirts and shit we had and we would make a Whitney Point design and we would just give away free shirts, like one per person. And we would just sit there all day and print and give away free shirts. And it's like, then everyone in town knows who you are. They know what you do, like all this other stuff. Like I have a super small town, but it's kind of like, I don't know the best answer for you because I am in such a small town that I never necessarily focus on trying to get a bunch of local business. Like I have cities around me that are big, but it's kind of like I more focus on getting the clients I really want in that town, like going after them specifically. And then once you have that one as a client, it's almost like in a video game, like I conquered this village. And then like they tell a bunch of people like around and then it starts another village and then it's like another thing. So it's like, if I can conquer the like 4 or 5 big clients I want in that area, they end up telling everybody in that area and I don't have to do any marketing. Like I land a couple big ones and they tell everybody else.
So that's kind of what we've been kind of doing is like, since we do have the access to like, we're not, we don't have that whole Des Moines base or whatever, that larger city base. Like what I'm doing now is I had our engraving person, Nicole, she's been like running off. Like we do a ton of leather patch hats. So like we'll take that local business over here that's like, hey, this is the John Deere implement or whatever. We'll take their logo or whatever. We're starting to throw those on hats like for every single one. And we're going to get to the point where I'm going to go around and just be like, hey, I'm not here for whatever sales. It is a sales pitch, but I'm not going to take your time. Just figured I'd drop this hat off. You guys ever need anything, let us know type of stuff.
Yep.
Which is like, it's better. Like I hate when salespeople come in and like, hey, let's sell you a copier because you need that. So, and take up or selling internet or something like that. And they're like, hey, you have some time. It's like, no, schedule a meeting with me or something like that. I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to come off like that guy. But I just feel like that's probably our best bet is just making those one-off hats and be like, hey, we do this, give them a flyer at the time, a business card. If you ever need anything, reach out, and then gone.
I've said this over and over. I always think that if you're going to sell to somebody like that, you need to give them something first. So like with us, we love doing like promo boxes or like sending them samples immediately or whatever. It's a couple bucks, whatever. If you really want that client, it's the same way you're saying like, oh, I could try Facebook marketing and all this other stuff. It's like, cool, you can do that. But like customer acquisition cost is going to be X. Like, why not just spend that money on a couple hats and literally drop it off and be like,
and what's like,
hey,
the hat cost
I don't want to sell you,
or...
but like, I want to let you know we're here. We're in town. We're here to help if you need it. Like one of my pitches to people we've never been with is like, I know you might have a printer. Like there's lots of people out there screen printing t-shirts. But do they take the time to sit with you and like have the amazing customer service, like white glove, like walk you through all these things, help you find new products, show you that there's 30 different ways to print a t-shirt. It's not always just spot color plastisol. Like there's all these different options. Make yourself different from them. Like, so I think it's awesome if you just do that, like make some hats, make some stickers, make some shirts, whatever you want to do. Sounds like hats would be easier because you could just do like 1 or 2.
Yeah,
whatever.
That's like our main thing we do for we do like
You should do a hat
tumblers
and then
stuff.
one of your own shirts.
Well,
Like-
and that's like a lot of the times our existing customers, like if somebody orders from us, we're usually throwing in one of our shirts too, and like a hat or whatever else. But like for sure, anything custom done, like for a company, like that is like their number one thing is like, if we're printing shirts for this place, go make a hat, throw it in there. Because more times than not, it's like, yes, they're going to be like at least asking about pricing. And as long as they're asking about pricing, they're on the fence about ordering.
Right.
So it's like, what's $5? Well, I guess like $7 or whatever with a patch and all that good stuff. But like, that's the cheapest kind of stuff that we found that can work versus doing like those Facebook things, because
that's cheaper than the Facebook thing. Because in reality, it's like all these different clicks and then going through and this and this. It's like, just make the damn hat. And
well,
we do upstate shirts too. We do cool designs, but we try to do like 6 or 7 variables. Like one is like a plastisol print, one's a discharge print, one's like a hybrid of the two, and one's a DTF, and one's this and this. So when we get the client we're trying to go to and we know what they're trying to achieve, we will send them a promo box, but it'll be with those specific shirts in their size. And then I'm like, hey, here's just a free shirt, whatever, who gives a shit if you like it or not. But you can feel the quality. You can see what it is you're trying to get. And a lot of times what it is they look at it and they're like, fuck, I want that. Like, why don't our shirts feel like this? Why don't our shirts look like this? Well, and most of the time when they're getting stuff from somebody else, it's like, it's on a basic tee. It's not like a high quality tee. It's, it's a rough print or something like that. And they do compare the two. We have that happen on quite a bit too. And like, oh, we didn't even know it wasn't supposed to feel like that. Right. When we first moved our shop to Winterset, it was like, hey, you want to join the chamber, you want to do the events and all this good stuff. And then it was like, and I'm not saying anything bad about the community. The community is great. It's like one of those you see on Hallmark. Basically, they have events uptown. They do a covered bridges festival or whatever, because the bridges of Madison County. But they do a lot of like the chamber. I just didn't feel was like, they're not promoting as well as they should have. They're like tagging people that aren't even local. They at one point promoted like our local graphic designers and stuff, and they tagged us and then Adobe Products as one of the people for some reason. But it was like the people at the chamber were so out of touch with it that it was like, this isn't really benefiting us to pay this much money and all this good stuff. So we're going to rifle that into something else. But like, again, with Facebook, it's like Facebook has pretty good results and you can actually see the stuff that's coming back on that. I just get tired of like the amount of shit that you have to deal with of other people out there just dogging on your stuff because it's like, oh, this isn't the price it should be, or like you're running a sale or whatever else. This isn't what the price of a sale shirt should be. And it's just like, you get tired of it. And it's just like, I'm tired of dealing with the Facebook trolls, and Instagram's been pretty good. But I'm in a school of thought of like, I just want to go after the kind of clients I want. I'll land some, I'll lose some, I'll whatever. I just want to print the kind of stuff we want to print, and I make money and have us all be happy and whatever. I don't want to be a mass screen printing place. Like, I don't want to be like throw out a massive net and just drag it all back in. And a lot of it sucks. Some's cool. Some like it's a pain in the ass here and there. It's like, I'm not interested. Like, I'm not interested in marketing to the masses. I just want the shit that I want, and that's it. Like, well, and that's like a lot of that. There's issues that come from, advertising to the masses too, because then you get those bad customers that are like, they're shooting emails all the, every hour of the night and all this other stuff. It's like you guys talk about it all the time, is basically firing some of these customers that aren't healthy for your business. So it's either they take way too much time up on just little stuff, or they're always saying something's wrong or something like that. Luckily, we don't really deal with that a whole lot, but it's like, I think like we're going to try and focus, I think, more of everything towards our existing customers for existing like orders and stuff, and trying to get, versus reorders versus new orders would be a good way to put it. But like, I'm not opposed to going and doing that mass thing so we can actually touch base and see if there's, and then kind of filter out those ones that give you the red flags after a little bit of talking with them, because there's definitely some that just kick tires, and it's just like, you guys don't realize this, but just even quoting this stuff takes time and money just to do, and labor and all that good stuff. So, yeah. Andy mentioned that you had some shop hacks. We haven't had shop hacks in forever.
Yeah. So I was kind of like jealous. I was like, I finally got the call. I was making up bigs, and it's like these guys aren't even doing shop hacks anymore. So I was like,
Dude,
well, I was like, I got to do.
I want to put this out there. I'm happy to hear any and all shop hacks at all time. We just got to the point with however many episodes where people are like, I don't have one. Like, I don't have anything you guys haven't said, whatever.
Right.
So,
And there was a lot of time.
If anybody has one, we want them.
Yeah. So yes, there's a few minor ones, and then I'll get to my like main one for all that good stuff first. So it's like if you are moving to a new location or you just bought a shop or whatever else, and you have the ability to epoxy your floors, because that's our main, like, I don't even know what I would do if I had like bare concrete on our floors with like ink and all dust and everything. It's just a pain in the ass. But like, when we came in, we epoxied these ones right off the bat. It was like a tile floor, and it was like, we were like a day away from getting our auto. So I was like, oh shit, I can't really have time to rip all this out. We just epoxied over the tile. And we threw the flake down and whatnot, but you can see like exactly like if there's a glob of ink underneath there or something, you can wipe it up. It's quick. But
Concrete is so porous that it just immediately soaks it in.
Or just like sweeping up like the shirt lint off of, after printing a huge run and stuff. It's like, even that's a pain in the ass to mess with. You almost have to like shop vac it or something.
I've always wanted to do it here. It's just everything. It's all already in here. It's already full. Yeah. Like, do I just be that guy who literally paints around like the feet of everything? Which is,
you could. I mean, if you own the building, Dylan, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's just up to your taste on how it looks, but I would definitely do it if it was, because you can paint pretty close to the feet on these auto. That
I've seen people do it before, where like you literally paint the feet or paint up to the feet and do like everything. It's just
so that's the like, big one. But
it just, in my feels, if I was to ever move anything and then there was that footprint where it wasn't epoxied, it would fucking make me want to chew my fingernails.
Yeah, so that was one of them. And then like, again, if you're moving to a new shop, is like, get good lighting, because nothing is like, if you ever have customers come in and they look at your printing space and like it's dingy and all that good stuff, don't like, it's hard to take a customer back to your production area and stuff if your shop is
even
dim.
For your employees, you should have good lighting.
And it's right. And like, you guys talked about it before. It's like, have windows and all that good stuff. Like, you have natural light coming in. Well, like when we were first doing this had a drop ceiling in it. This is our print room here, but it had a drop ceiling and it had like the old tube lights that were like the 2x4 square that had like 4 whatever lights in it. Well, we got these, like, if you can see up here, like we got this hexagon lighting, and they basically custom fit it to whatever your shop space is. So it could be like 20x40 or whatever, but like, it's way cheaper than replacing all of those with LEDs and all this other good stuff. And obviously the cost of electrical and all that stuff is way lower running these things. So that was the second thing. And then I got another quick last thing, and it is I'm no plug for Rockform, but it's these magnetic wall mounts. So what you do, you have like the magnet, like they also sell these phone cases that have the magnets on the back.
Yeah.
These things we have plastered everywhere in our shop, so that if you ever need to do like social media video, it comes like a tape on the back. It's like this 3M tape. Stick it up. We've got like one by our dryer, one by our printing press, one overhead of our post bed machine that we sew hats with. And like you can just mag video through. Like we have one in our laser that's like stuck to the glass of the laser, so it's shooting down video from inside the machine at the same time. But we have them plastered all over the place.
I guess
it's like a tripod, but you can get it in tighter spots, and it's not as bulky, so it's a lot more convenient. But that was that was my good one, my real good one. I haven't heard yet, but
put one on a llama, so I can get
you should
llama feet.
Yeah, that would be. We'll just get like a GoPro.
You should
or something,
do
strap it to a llama.
like a GoPro on like a collar so that I can like have llama cam all day long while I'm at work and see what it's doing and eating.
That would be sweet.
I just saved your family farm. Now people are going to log into llama cam. There was a place.
Well, that's like what they do with like the bald eagles and stuff at like in the national park. They'll just like set it on the nest.
There's a place nearby here called Animal Adventure that basically is like that, where it's like not quite a zoo, but the guy just has a ton of land and made his own zoo and like whatever. Well, they had bought what are they called? Giraffes. And it went like he put a camera in there because they were going to have a baby. So you could like live feed, watch it have a baby. And like it went like crazy on the internet. He was on like a ton of huge talk shows and like it blew up and like people were flying here to come see the giraffes and like all this other stuff. So like, hey, you never know. The millions of viewers on your llama cam, and then
maybe that's your answer, is how to market yourself as you're the shop that has a llama at it. You know, you're instead of like a dog or a cat or whatever, you've got a shop llama, and people would remember that.
Yeah, we do have the shop
llama.
But definitely shop llama, shlama,
shlama.
Shalama. That would be a first. I don't think I've seen anybody out there with those yet.
Yeah,
then like train this llama to like bite the shirt off the pallet.
And now we just solved your local marketing problem. Now you have fucking llamas everywhere.
Petting zoo day and come meet our llama.
Perfect. I love it.
Thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for coming to spring break. It was good chatting with you there too. And
yeah. Good to meet you guys too. I know Dylan, we had talked a little bit on the
death raft
tiki boat. Yeah, that was it was a good time. I did not try the tacos that time, but it was good. And I need to do a quick shout out to my two employees that are awesome. Nicole runs all my hats, and Taylor's the designer. She just started a little bit ago, but she's been really good and keeping it up. And then also, like we were talking about the family thing earlier, it's like my wife, Emily, she basically holds down the fort at home while I'm here doing the whole grind and just keep going type style. So I appreciate that a bunch. Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Yeah. Well, thanks, dude. We appreciate you. Get the fucking llama. Let me know when that's ready because I want to watch the footage.
I'll get on it. And thank you guys too for doing all this. I know you guys get it every episode, but like no thanks can never be enough for what you guys are doing. We would not be here if it wasn't for you guys doing what you're doing. We at least not fast enough anyway. So
I was going to say not true, but we appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's definitely influenced us. So I appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, man. We appreciate it. Have a good day, dude.
Yeah.